What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to banish the myth of multitasking from your brain forever? Well, I got good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you exactly how to do this. Normally it's $45, but since you're a loyal listener of the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time.
You're listening to the Inner Strength Show. If you want to step into your greatness, you've come to the right place. Here is your host, the human strength expert, Kyle Newell.
What's up, everybody? It's Kyle once again with the Unlocking Your Inner Strength show podcast, episode number 86. Time is flying by with this stuff. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is the hormone cortisol. Cortisol is terrible for you, except when it's good for you. Cortisol gets a very bad rap. It's very misunderstood. So if you can understand it, you can use it to your benefit. Now, cortisol, I'm going to explain this as simply as I can so you can take and apply these and teach these hopefully to somebody else. Cortisol is, quote unquote, a stress hormone, but produced in the adrenal gland. Cortisol does not cause stress. That's where a lot of the confusion comes in. Stress causes cortisol. Now, excessive stress will cause excessive cortisol. That's where it becomes an issue. So, with that in mind, you have two different types of stress. You have distress, which is bad, and you have eustress, which is good. So stress in which you're feeling joy, you're getting a bunch of new things going with your business and all that. Your adrenal gland gets the signal from the pituitary gland, okay, of how much cortisol to produce. Now, I was making some connections with cortisol last week that I think are actually untalked about. I haven't heard anybody really talk about them, but I'm going to connect the dots here, and I think this is going to be pretty cool. Cortisol, the benefits of it, right? It manages your blood pressure, reduces inflammation in the body, leads to a stronger immune system, and it helps with sleep. So that's one of the big things I want to talk about here. When we wake up, shortly before we get up in the morning, so the normal circadian rhythm for the human body is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. When, let's say it's 5:30, whatever, cortisol starts to rise, it should peak right before we wake up, and that's what should wake us up if we're waking up without an alarm clock. Now, a lot of factors go into that. A lot of us have cortisol flip, which I'm going to talk about. But when cortisol comes up, we wake up. Cortisol is an alertness hormone, not just a stress hormone. It's a stress hormone, like I said, when we have excessive stress. So knowing that it's an alertness hormone, we want it to rise throughout the morning and mid-morning. We can do this through our intermittent fasting. There's something known as the fishing effect, which basically says if insulin goes up, cortisol comes down, and vice versa. If cortisol is high, insulin should be low. Most people have this cortisol flip, meaning they have a very difficult time waking up in the morning, and they might have a tough time turning it off at night and going to sleep. If cortisol is high at night and it's an alertness hormone, you are not going to be able to sleep. Cortisol is of the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, or freeze. So I'm going to go over a couple ways that you can manage your excessive stress as well. Sleeping, we need to be on the flip side of the nervous system, which is the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and recover. So you have sympathetic and parasympathetic. Most people will get symptoms of thyroid disorder or maybe low testosterone, all these other numbers of things, right? They're all, most of the time, a trickle down from excessive cortisol, which is excessive stress. Stress is what you have to manage, not really the cortisol. Cortisol is a side effect. And the body is brilliant. There's these stupid supplements out there, cortisol blockers, and people talking about the dangers of cortisol. It's your stress that you have to manage. Now, how can intermittent fasting help sleep? Go back to what I said about cortisol and it being an alertness hormone. It should rise before we go to bed. And then actually when it starts getting, if we look at the circadian rhythm, which is how the body functions, as it starts getting dark outside, cortisol should start coming back down, okay, which is going to signal us to get ready for bed. Get ready for bed. There's actually a great book called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. So this whole concept really is, if we're looking at the animal brain and we look at other mammals, right? If a lion was chasing a zebra, the zebra is either going to escape and return back to baseline. It's not going to stay in this excessive state of stress, or it's going to get caught and killed. Either way, it's not staying in an excessive state of stress. As humans, what we've managed to do is we've let our human brains, our prefrontal cortex, which surrounds the whole outside shell of the brain, we've allowed that to chronically keep our stress systems, our sympathetic nervous systems turned on. They're not designed for that. Going back to what I was saying, is when cortisol should be coming down when it starts getting dark outside, we have excessive light. We have things that are putting off electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs, things that are really confusing the nervous system in the body. Very, very stressful. We have psychological stresses. We think about the future. We worry about money. We worry about relationships, career, what might happen. All future-based thought. Other animals don't have that ability, which is a blessing and a curse. What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how to banish the myth of multitasking from your brain forever? Well, I got good news for you. I've put together a special report showing you exactly how to do this. Normally it's $45, but since you're a loyal listener of the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time. So I know I keep hopping around here, but this is kind of an exciting topic for me because cortisol is a very positive thing. Okay. Cortisol is also one of the things that will regulate your appetite, which can obviously affect metabolism. But if we can allow cortisol to normalize in the morning through intermittent fasting, that means it's going to have an effect on the backside when we go to sleep. The number one diet in the world is sleep. If we can get people to sleep better, their bodies are going to change. Sleep is the best management tool for excessive stress. So I say allow cortisol to continue to rise throughout the morning. Growth hormone is going to spike along with it. Cortisol is great for brain function. Again, it's an alertness hormone. Rather than what most people do, their cortisol is low in the morning. They have that flip, which from being too stressed. Low in the morning, then they eat a breakfast. Insulin goes up. Cortisol gets further driven down. So the first half of their day, their cortisol is low. The backside of the day, it tries to start rising. Okay, the body's brilliant. It's going to try to get its hormone production one way or another. It starts rising. You have trouble going to sleep. Cycle repeats. I don't think anybody I've heard of has made the connection between intermittent fasting and sleep through this way, which again is what I'm excited about. Now, a couple ways we can manage excessive stress. Fear increases stress. Fear is future-based thought. So you have fight, flight, or freeze parts of that nervous system. So fight. Getting a workout in, that would simulate a fight, okay? You get it out of your system, let it come back to baseline. So a workout for most people that are too stressed is a great thing when we continue to do it. The workout itself is actually a stressor, but releasing this stuff. Social connection, which hits the mammal brain. The mammal brain doesn't have us having our stress chronically turned on, right? Think about your dog, or if you've ever seen a dog. They're not chronically stressed and thinking about the future. Now, with that said, most people are lacking a mammal-type connection with another human because they're always perceiving judgment from somebody else, or they don't have any animals really to connect with. Now, an animal such as a dog is great therapy because you connect on a mammalian level, which is your midbrain, okay, which helps us experience joy and different types of emotion. A dog is not going to judge you. That's why people feel so safe around it. And they get that connection. Hits your anterior cingulate cortex, it's known as, which is a structure in the brain built for bonding. So that's one way to reduce stress. Hitting the vagus nerve through exhaling. So, or you could do the Om that I was teaching a couple weeks ago, where you inhale. Om. hitting the vagus nerve, which stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. So those are a couple ways you can get more relaxed and drive down excessive levels of stress. You could talk about killing it and crushing it in the gym, but you need to worry about chilling after the gym or chilling. You don't have to grind, and every day shouldn't be a grind and all this type of stuff, right? If you can manage your energy and you can manage your state or your confidence, you can achieve a lot of things in life. So that's what I have to say about cortisol today and ways you can reduce your stress. Remember, cortisol is a side effect of stress, either good or bad stress. Excessive cortisol is usually a sign of excessive distress or worry. The stress is the issue, not the cortisol. Cortisol has many benefits, can reduce inflammation, manage appetite, blood pressure management, stronger immune system. Okay, and it's going to affect your sleep. So that's all I have for episode number 86. Thank you for bearing through my cold or whatever this is, or allergies that I have. If you have not already done so, please leave a review on iTunes and share this with somebody that can use some kind of inspiration or some kind of knowledge of this sort in their life. And I'll be back next week with some more. And episode number 87, I'm going to be talking about fructose and fruit and the misinformation that's put out there about how fruit can make you fat, which is completely not true. So until then, peace.
You've been listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you enjoyed the show, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in iTunes.